Yo, what is up YouTube? It's your boy Legend and I'm back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. Now, I'm sorry I haven't been uploading. I just got my gaming PC, so I was trying to set that up, get it all ready, you know what I'm saying? Had to download a couple of stuff, install some antivirus on there, download Streamlabs, all that other stuff cuz I plan on streaming Apex. But that's a topic for another day. But without further ado, let's just get into this intro so we can start this what if. Naruto and Gaara were outside of Konoha. The three Akatsuki members soon followed as they came upon the two Jinchuriki. Sasuke and Jiraiya landed next, before they had to jump back from an explosive. Jiraiya looked up at Deidara before he placed a hand on Sasuke's shoulder. You and Gaara take him. His sand allows him to fly and your lightning is his weakness. Jiraiya then moved off next to Naruto. Take your pick, kid. Do you want Fish Face or the old man? Naruto looked at the two S-rank dens before his eyes turned to slits with a deep crimson, as red lightning started to dance around his body as a single tail sprouted. I'll take the old man. With that, Naruto became a blur. As Kisame crashed down on Jiraiya, who jumped back, Jiraiya summoned a clone that went deep into the woods to build up enough chakra before Jiraiya lashes out with the roundhouse kick. Meanwhile, Naruto came down at Kakazu like some feral animal, causing him to jump back, but Naruto was upon him in an instant as he slammed his fist into his face, but he didn't budge. Kakazu grabbed Naruto by the throat and slammed him into the ground. You're 6 decades out of your league, boy. You stand no chance. Just then another Naruto phased behind Kakazu. He turned to hit it, but his hand phased right through it. Genjutsu. That thought was quickly erased from Kakazu's head as the wind clone shoved an explosive kunai into his stomach, but Kakazu was lucky as he activated his earth spear. With Sasuke and Gaara, the two stood opposite Deidara in the air. Gaara in his sand and Sasuke on his Taka summon. The two shot forward and Deidara flew higher. It's 2-on-1, that's not really fair. Deidara released small clay bursts, causing Gaara to drop back and Sasuke to take charge. Chidori Senbon. The explosives now fell to the ground as sand shot out from behind Sasuke. Sasuke quickly moved aside, giving Gaara full view of Deidara as he moved to avoid the sand assault. But Deidara only moved closer to Sasuke as he leaped forward. Chidori Spear. The wing on Deidara's bird was severed and Deidara started to fall. Sasuke's eyes spun as he landed back on his summon and looked at Deidara. He saw him reaching for his pouch. Sasuke pulled multiple shuriken with wires as he tossed them. Deidara hit multiple branches on purpose to avoid the projectiles, but then he saw the wires that surrounded him like a dome. Sasuke brung the wires up to his mouth and went through a set of 10 hand seals. Snake, monkey, dog, boar, rabbit, bird, dragon, horse, dragon, tiger. This was something he was working on. It was not perfected because of the amount of chakra that it required, but he needed to end this fast. Fire style, Pharaoh Dragon Dome. Sasuke spit out bright yellow flames that quickly consumed the ninja wire and trapped Deidara. Because it was incomplete, he had to continuously push chakra into the technique. The fire was supposed to be light blue, not yellow, and he couldn't use Amaterasu because it would burn through the wire and free Deidara. In the village, Danzo angrily stood from his desk, throwing it across the room. He was livid. These people just came to his village and started trying to take his shinobi. Danzo ripped off his Hayori and faded into the wind. Back with Naruto, he blocked the punch from Kakazu with his Tanto, but it snapped under the pressure The hardened fist continued and threatened to rip through Naruto, but he caught it right before contact to lessen the blow. As he slid back while holding him, a trickle of blood ran from Naruto's lip as he threatened to fall to his knees but continued to stand. Huh, didn't expect it to be this hard, even if I'm unable to go all out because of the people around me. But I won't let you cause harm to the place I protect or the ones I come to care for, said Naruto. Kakuzu laughed. You're not going all out. That's on you. You're out of your league. And you stand no chance. There's nothing that you can do. Naruto started to chuckle, and it made Kakuzu shiver. I may not be able to kill you with normal means, but that doesn't mean I can't kill you at all. And you can't kill me, because you need me alive. Naruto then locked his legs with Kakuzu's, and then locked both of his arms. Boy, how do you plan to fight me? You have no free body parts, said Kakuzu. Naruto laughed as his body started to glow a dark blue color. Who said I needed to fight you to kill you? I'm just gonna take you down with me to hell. I'm going to turn my own chakra into an atomic bomb on a smaller scale. The blast will go on in a 30-meter radius in a 365-degree area. The both of us will die here. Kakuzu started to sweat. What about your friends? They will get caught. No, they won't. They are at the edge, so they will only suffer second-degree burns at the most. They will live, but we won't. Everyone was able to feel Naruto's chakra become more dense. Just then there was another voice. Wind style, vacuum blast barrage. Kakuzu was blown away by the jutsu. As Danzo ran to Naruto and slammed a hand on his chest, stopping the jutsu. Naruto's chakra receded and he gasped for air. Danzo turned to Kakuzu before removing the bandages from his eye. You made the mistake of coming here. I gave you a warning once, but you disregarded me. Now, I'll kill all of you who stand here. Meanwhile, the Tsuchikage pressed a button on his radio communicator. Katsuchi, come in. There was a pause before he got a response. What is it? I'm currently on watch at our most important outpost. Anoki waved off the blatant disrespect for now. Get Karatsuchi along with Han and Roshi. Tell them to meet me and the Raikage at the border of Lightning Country. There was a long pause before he got another response. They say they'll be there in 3 days at the most. It'll take a little, as a day and a half, if they go at full pace with only 2 1-hour breaks. Anoki smiled as he looked at the Raikage. So, how do you want them to infiltrate the sand, Raikage? Brute force or stealth? Meanwhile, off in the distance, a figure came from a crater that was created from their attackers, and she stood on beaten legs that started to heal. You could see the muscle tissue and flesh slowly stitch itself back together, leaving brown rust-colored blood on her legs, before a white fleshy substance molded over it and blended back in with their skin tone. She then looked down as she held out a hand to the ground as a white snake slithered up her arm. I'm sorry this has happened to you, Master. I was unable to finish my battle in time to help you, but he seemed to have been immune, if not at least had a tolerance for my poisons. But you will need another body. Ingest some of my flesh. It may help you build your strength for when you get another body. With that said, the small white snake sunk its fangs into Mondas's arm as the two walked off, heading to another hideout located in the hidden grass. Back with Naruto. He and his group stood over the Akatsuki members panting. Naruto and Danzo had it the worst. They had to kill Kakashi 5 times over, and he was already fast and powerful to begin with. The Sasuke wasted nearly all his reserves trying to roast Deidara to death, but it was for nothing as Deidara had an earth affinity, so he just escaped the attack with moderate difficulty. And the fight started all over again between the three. Jiraiya, at first, had a hard time with Kisame, but once his clone gathered the necessary chakra to summon the toads for Sage Mode, it became a one-sided battle for Jiraiya. Even after Kisame fused with Samihara, mainly because the sword wasn't able to properly absorb nature energy, so the blows had little to no effect on him. Naruto looked at Danzo. "You may want to put that away before Sasuke comes over and sees that." Danzo, not wanting to deal with an Uchiha throwing a tantrum, nodded and covered back his eye before he ordered everyone back to the village after making sure everyone was fine. Upon entering the village, Naruto almost collapsed along with Sasuke, but they were caught by Hanabi and Hinata. Naruto let out a breath, and the drawback of using the Kyuubi's chakra without fully mastering it was putting a huge amount of stress on his body. Sasuke, on the other hand, found his vision going blurry again. Before his eyes went back to normal, he looked up to see Hinata supporting his weight. Sasuke was about to speak when Hinata cut him off. "We need to talk later." Meanwhile, Hanabi grinned. "Naruto-kun, I know you would fall for me, but I didn't know it would be this soon." Naruto looked up at Hanabi before picking himself up. "I wouldn't say I fell for you, but maybe we'll get there soon." Hanabi blushed. The one time she decided to tease Naruto, he knew exactly what she was talking about. Naruto stood back on his own feet and continued to walk, prompting Hanabi to follow. 2 days later, with Inoki and Egg, they stood at the border of lightning with Dari, Yugito, Kuretsuchi, Han, and Roshi. They were all told their mission was classified as an S-rank mission, considering that they were about to abduct a Kage in their own village. They all left off, leaving the two Kages standing in the snow. Roshi kept eyeing Yugito, and it was getting her annoyed. "Is there a reason why you continue to blatantly stare and check me out?" asked Yugito. Roshi tried giving a charming smile. Keyword tried. "I'm just taking the time to admire a woman of such beauty, in all honesty." Roshi was cut off by Yugito. "Yeah, I'm good. You're old enough to be my grandfather, and I'm twice your size." Kuretsuchi burst out laughing, and C glared at Roshi before they all stopped. C summoned a giant hawk. As they all got on to shorten the time and energy it would take to get there, in total, they made it 50 miles from the sand in only a total of 8 hours, and it was now dark as they walked to the hidden village. Meanwhile, Tamari just left her office and was now changing, getting ready for bed. She went through her usual routine, make sure her small handheld fans and kunai were under her pillow, take a shower, get dressed for bed, brush her teeth, set her clothes out for the next day, and check to see if her small handheld fans and kunais were under her pillow again. After doing this, she lay down and slowly drifted off. Meanwhile, 20 minutes later, Yugito, Han, and their group walked right through the front gates thanks to C and his genjutsu. They all got rid of everything that would affiliate them with their home villages before entering, and now they wore black shinobi pants with white tape with black mesh shirts and brown overshirts. They walked casually through the village as they walked by a silver-haired man. The man walked casually, passing them, but stopped when Yugito, Han, and Roshi passed. He could clearly feel the immense chakra that they were suppressing. More so Han and Roshi than Yugito. He turned and continued to walk as he lifted his headband and vanished in the swirling vortex. Kakashi was highly skilled, even with his hindered chakra reserves, but he was far from stupid. He wouldn't openly fight 3 Jinchuriki at once, even if he had Naruto and Sasuke with him. The battle would be too long without a Seal Master. Hell, he wouldn't even fight one with Jiraiya, who was a self-proclaimed Seal Master. Tsumi found herself being sucked away, along with Genma. Han turned his head, sensing the usage of a small amount of chakra, and he turned to see nobody. Not even the man that they had just walked past not 5 seconds ago. Kakashi, Genma, and Tsumi all sat in the pocket dimension. Something's about to go down. There are 3 foreign Jinchuriki in this village, one of which is Yugito Ni, according to my out-of-date bingo book. She's a Konoichi of the Cloud, but it's not updated. It said she was a Chunin and 18 years of age, with a strong affinity of fire, so strong that it rivals some of the strongest of Uchiha. Genma pulled out a more updated bingo book and found her. She's 22 and has attained the rank of Jonin and now has the 4th strongest lightning affinity in Kumo, under the 8 tails. She's highly proficient in both of her elements of ninjutsu and proficient in taijutsu. Her chakra control is almost perfect due to her training under the Raikage for the past few months. Not to mention that she's a perfect Jinchuriki. Genma closed the book. The situation was far from good, but they couldn't let them wander around the village and do whatever. They all left the dimension and appeared back in the village. Tsumi and her dog quickly picked up their scent, since it was foreign. Meanwhile, C and the group were in the Kazekage's tower as they went through some drawers. The Anbu that stood guard didn't suspect a thing due to a genjutsu, and then they were killed with no sound. QRST. Here we go. Tamari Sabukano. C pulled the file and placed it atop of 2 other files titled Kankuro Sabukano and Gar Sabukano. He opened the file and immediately blushed. I may actually feel bad about this mission. She's beautiful, maybe even better looking than Yuki-chan. Roshi quickly came to look and rose an eyebrow. I must say, she is good looking young lady, but she is nowhere near as fine as Yugito. Roshi walked back to the others and gave a hard smack to Yugito's ass, causing her to go red and glare at the short old man. What made it worse is that the slap was loud and echoed throughout the room. She was ready to finish this mission so she won't have to go near this old creep. They looked at the rest of the records before leaving the room and headed to the Sabukano estate. Meanwhile, Kakashi and his Konoha squad made their way to the Kazekage's tower, but all they found were the dead bodies of the Anbu that were supposed to guard the office at the Sabukano estate. Tamari opened her eyes and sat up in bed. She rubbed the sleep from her eyes and looked around. She didn't know what had woke her up, but she knew something did. She looked at the window and it was closed, just the way she left it. Maybe it was paranoia. She closed her eyes, then tried to sense something, but she wasn't a sensor, so it was hard. She felt nothing. But she wasn't satisfied. She knew something woke her up. She took a deep breath and exhaled and started to feel the air molecules in the house. She snapped her head to the closed door of her room as she reached to grab her 2 handheld fans. As she released a massive cutting wind, before she grabbed her large battle fan from underneath her bed and jumped through the window. Soon the 6 intruders followed and surrounded her. So, why is the stone and cloud in my damn village, let alone their Jinchuriki? Asked Tamari, not caring what the answer was. You're going to be coming with us, conscious or unconscious. You will come, said Han, speaking for the first time. Tamari opened her fan, revealing all 3 stars as she took a defensive stance. Dari held his blade before he swung it, as it dragged through the ground and shot a black bolt of lightning towards her. Tamari was about to overpower his attack with the wind, but Yugito and Han and Roshi sent large fireballs at her. Tamari quickly closed her fan and placed the metal in front of the lightning attack to block it, as she immediately started to drain the oxygen from the air as it dissipated the fire jutsu. You know, you can't start a fire if there is no oxygen, to fuel it. Roshi went through hand signs as he shot a lava jutsu at her, but it started to morph away, causing no damage. Kakashi and his group dropped down next to Tamari, ready to fight. Darui cursed. Now they were drawing too much attention, not to mention the sound of Tamari blowing apart her own room because they were found out. Everyone, don't take these guys lightly. 3 of them are Jinchuriki, and the other is the granddaughter of the Tsuchikage, said Kakashi. Yugito smirked. You already know this much about us. It doesn't make sense on trying to be subtle now. With that, her, Han, and Roshi all transformed, releasing their Biju. Kakashi looked up at the two-tailed cat that had a fire forming in its mouth. It released it in at all of them. As they all jumped away, everyone but Kakashi. As the attack phased right through him. Looks like someone doesn't pay attention to the bingo book. If you did, then you would know. I'm one of the strongest in the leaf, said Kakashi. He then went through hand signs as he slammed its hand onto the ground, as he summoned a large 3-headed dog, the same size as the Two Tails. I'm not cocky, but I do everything it takes to come out of a fight alive, as long as it doesn't hurt my comrades. The name of this summon is Cerberus, and he is my familiar. On the scale of power, he's on par with the Sanbai. Now, Cerberus, proud. With that, Cerberus and Kakashi started to blend in with their surroundings. Not even the paw print of the beast was visible. Roshi went to slam his hand down on Tatsumi, but her and her dog then poofed as they turned into a giant 2-headed wolf that bared its teeth with slob dripping from its fangs. It let out a loud guttural growl that shook the entire village. The 2-headed wolf then lunged at the 4 tails, before going into a violent gray and black spinning missile looking to rip through the beast. But all that managed to happen was it being pushed back. Han looked down at Genma, expecting some sort of summon or transformation, but none came. Instead, he pulled out a strange 3-pronged kunai and sighed. My chakra reserves are going to be gone by the end of this. Hell, maybe I'll even die from chakra exhaustion. Genma launched the kunai before doing a hand sign. Kunai clone jutsu. That one kunai turned to 200. He already felt a small drop in his reserves, yet he was one of the 4th Hokage's personal guards, but he never fully mastered the Harisen. So he had to tweak the ceiling array a lot. So he didn't need the other 3 guys to perform it. And because he tweaked the seal, it took away the chakra reducing factor, the 4th input into it. On top of that, he just cloned 200 kunai when he usually only cloned up to 50. Han looked around, seeing all the strange kunai. He then went to stomp Genma, but he flashed away, surprising Han. Meanwhile, Yugito heard Kakashi's voice from all around. You know, you're the first who didn't try and release this as if it were some type of genjutsu. I'm surprised. Is it because you being a perfect host makes you immune to genjutsu? Now I'm curious. Yugito then saw herself being chained down, as she was hung from the ceiling, from her ankles, with her chakra sealed, and she was half naked. Kakashi then appeared in front of her, with lightning coating his hand. He ran at her, hand outstretched, but before he could even touch her, everything froze as the vision shattered. Impressive. Now I know how long I have if I decide to go that route. Meanwhile, Daria Kuratsuchi smirked at Tamari, but then Kuratsuchi flinched. She touched her neck and felt a senbon. As she pulled it out, a purple substance covered it. She knew that the people in the sand used poison, so she pulled a vial and swallowed the substance inside before she turned her head to the left and looked at Kankuro, who stood on the rooftop with a new puppet curled around him. It was a salamander with the lead tail and the senbon launcher in his mouth. He also had another puppet. It was his father, the 4th Kazekage, who stood to his right with his normal puppet to his left. Kankuro's finger twitched as the salamander shot forward. Kuratsuchi already knew that he would do this. It explained how and what he used to fight in his files. With great detail, Kuratsuchi simply channeled Earth Chakra to her hand, and faster than Kankuro could twitch, the salamander was splintered into a rain of lead shrapnel. Kuratsuchi jumped back as a blade of wind gouged the ground in front of her. She turned and was met with a rather hard punch from Tamari. Dari, wanting to get this over with, went through hand sides. Gale style, laser circus. The light was blinding, as everyone had to cover their eyes. Kankuro tried to move his puppet into position around him, but he didn't feel his connection to them. He immediately fumbled for the scroll on his pouch for another puppet, not knowing what happened to his other puppet, but he was too slow. His hand dropped the scroll as his fingers fell limp. He didn't even hear his puppets clatter to the ground, but his body folded over awkwardly onto itself as his head fell from the roof with a thud as Dari stood before him, blade outstretched. Tamari looked on in horror as tears started to blur her vision. Kankuro, she just saw him fold over onto himself, and this guy just looked on with his lazy ass look as if nothing happened. She felt her arms tighten as the sound of metal stressing was heard as she gripped her battle fan hard. Rumbling fan wind wall. She was angry as she sent the tornado of wind at the man, destroying the entirety of the building. But he jumped away. She saw the girl going through hand signs, but it didn't matter. She turned and bit her thumb, and in one swift movement, she wiped her blood onto the fan and swung it with enough force to rival a punch of Tsunade. Summoning blade dance, a weasel and a gale of wind formed and went at the girl. Dari appeared in front of her as Tamari swung her fan at him in blind rage, but he only grabbed her wrist and swung with his other hand. Crack! Tamari stumbled back and fell over unconscious. Dari had hit her with the head of Kankuro as he shattered the skull by hitting Tamari with it. Genma saw this as he tossed the kunai at Dari. Dari turned and sliced the kunai in half before hitting him with the water jutsu. He then pulled a reverse summoning scroll as he stood on it with the unconscious Tamari. The three Jinchuriki formed Biju bombs, intending on leveling the entirety of the village. Kakashi went wide-eyed before he even started to stress his eye. Kamui! Genma stood and saw the two other before he tossed the kunai and appeared in front of it before teleporting it away. Kakashi looked at the last one before his eye began to bleed. Kamui! Kakashi then fell to his knees from chakra exhaustion, and his summon poofed away as the intruders retreated. Genma then flashed back, looking like shit. His shirt was torn, and his arm was gone, while his left side of his body had burns. He took one step before he fell forward and took his last breath. Kakashi looked at him. Not a tear fell from his face. He looked over at Tasumi. She looked bad, but she would live. But he had more important stuff to do now. But guys, I'm going to end it off right there. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe while you're at it. But without further ado, I'm out. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.